Evening, everybody.
Oh, okay. I was going to hand you over to our chairman for the evening's awards.
Thank you, Mr. Director. Can everybody hear? Can you wave?
I can't wait. It's an all video.
Right. Cheers. Cheers. Now my phone rings. Very funny. Mr. Edwards. Look, welcome, everybody. This is not the AGM. It's our sort of try and wrap up the season so that we can all sort of focus on the next season and just basically talk about some of the highlights and also some of the nice things that we do at the end of a season, which is make sure everybody knows who's got all the awards, etc. Just a quick recap as to where we are with that, and I've been sending out the sort of notes and stuff, so a lot of you kind of got a good idea of what's going on. But just to tell you really that certain things like our finances we've got under control. An awful lot of work has been going on with getting grants and funding in over the last few months, and we do have another opportunity to get some more funding in through a grant, a sort of a fund matching pound for pound type scheme, which we might be talking to everybody over the next couple of weeks or so. And really very much the club has moved from closing everything down in a controlled way, making sure the finances are okay, to really now we're looking very much to the future and how we can sort of start to reopen, get training organised, try and get a bit more social. So the seniors, for example, are leading the way next Tuesday, I believe, with just trialling, getting training going, just seeing how that all works. And I think this evening we've had a very, very light, sort of more social, having a beer out on the patio, people that have been ordering beers over the last few weeks. So it's actually looking fairly positive. We're as I say, we're moving out of the sort of horrible sort of lockdown mode, and we're now sort of dipping our toe into actually sort of looking at how we can reopen and start enjoying our rugby lives again. So really the idea of this evening is to just sort of give every section 5 minutes or so, just give you some highlights as to what happened last season, so we can have a bit of a wrap up, and also say a few thank yous to some of the key people in all the sections that have made things work, and basically advise you of some of the awards and things that have been handed out. So I think without further ado, can I hand over to Ali? Are you out there, Ali? Mike, can you
I am
press
here.
the magic button?
Yeah, I'm unmuted. Thank you, Mark.
Right, there you go. You should all be seeing Ali now.
Hopefully. So this season started off with some beautiful weather, non-rugby weather entirely. Our pitches were too hard for contact for our 9s, 10s and 11s and our girls. So our players, even though they were quite disappointed by it, had to concentrate on technique. And they played touch rugby throughout September, but it actually worked really well for their fitness and skills levels. It was displayed throughout the rest of the season in festivals and on tour. Our under-9s, the confidence that they gained was amazing, from children that last season were worried about going into contact. Are they going to get hurt? To this season, you know, so few injuries and not, I don't think we had a concussion. I'll need to check that. We did have some issues throughout the season with access to some pitches and later on with waterlogged pitches, but the age group coped with some last minute changes to where they were. I did have managers tell me that players wouldn't play in some of the areas, but they did. Players didn't care. They just got on with it, and they enjoyed no matter where they played. They just wanted to play rugby. And I think due to that and watching them play, and it was really nice to have the age groups moved around because we all got to meet each other, meet different parents got to see both players play and train. It just showed that Trez really does echo throughout the minis. The management team and the coaching teams are exceptionally proud of the progress that all players have made this season, regardless of where they trained. There was no normality this season. They had to move around. But none of it happens without our volunteers, so our first aiders, our coaches, and the management. You've been exceptional. We had Bev and Laura, our first festival of the season, lying on the ground looking after another club's player because of a suspected neck injury. They were amazing throughout that, very calm, and that just goes to show what great training they get as well. I'd like to thank the management team, because without their support, as my first season as Minis chairman, I'm not sure I would have got through, especially the end. So thank you to Ali, Nikki, Jen, Camille, Ian and James. You've been phenomenal. It wouldn't have run as well as it did, I don't think, because of you. You were amazing. We made it on tour the weekend before lockdown, thanks to the tour committee and fundraising. It really was one of the best tours that I and many others have been on. I had a lot of comments on it. It was very player focused, just as it should be. It wasn't focused on, what are the adults going to enjoy. It was what are the players really going to enjoy. The build up to the tour was truly phenomenal. The players couldn't wait to get there. Their excitement was evident from the first fixture to the end. The girls' rendition of the Wheels on the Bus, I think, will be forever ingrained in mine and many others' memories. I think Bradley, one of the girls' coaches, stood outside for half an hour listening to it, and then we endured it, a battle between the under-9s and the girls, and who could come up with the best lines for it. Even when the season ended, everybody was still on board. The Pass It On video that we did was very well received, with over 200 entries for it. It's the full version, which is all age groups, is very, very long. It starts with Mark, but it is fun to watch. I think it's 9 minutes and 8 seconds, and it is a fun thing to watch, especially towards the end. And the end, with what some of the younger players say, really showed the Chobham spirit. I think Mighty Chobham, Go Chobham were at the end. At the end of this season, I had the privilege of handing out the award for Minis Clubman. When I told the Minis committee who I thought should get the Minis Clubman award, there was a resounding yes, 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 definitely. And when I mentioned it to the management committee, I got the same thing. I think Cherry Whittington was one that went, yes, definitely. So our Minis Clubman Award this season goes to a gentleman who has been our tour chairman for the last two seasons. Last season he jumped in at the last minute, turned it all around. He pulls everything together. He's very calm. He's liked by everybody who works with him. He's been an absolute asset to the Minis, and it's well deserved. And it's Colin Hall who gets that, who sadly we are losing to the juniors at the end of this season. So that's me. Thank you.
Nice one. Thank you, Ali. Well done, Colin.
Well done, thanks very much, guys. Thank you, Ali. That'll be as good as a committee you have working for you.
Modest too.
No, thank you very much, Ali. So I guess we should move on to women and girls now. And Izzy.
Hang on.
Hang on.
Come over. Yeah. Want to get back to us? There we go. Sorry, few technical problems.
Okay, so this season has been a great one for both the women's and the girls' sections. It was the first season at Chobham that we've fielded all 3 age groups, under 13s, 15s and 18s. The under 13s this season narrowly missed out on the Surrey Trophy, and the 15s and 18s were both doing brilliantly well before the season was cut short. We were also very proud to have 8 girls selected for Surrey, which again is a massive achievement with the numbers that we have. We are, yes, I can say on behalf of everyone in that section that was very proud of all of the girls. And I just wanted to say a massive thank you to the parents, the sponsors and the volunteers for making it happen, as obviously everyone knows the work that goes behind it to make it happen. On to the women. So again, this season is one for the history books, as this was the first season that Chobham have ever been able to put out a women's side. And we now have over 20 women registered for Chobham. And after a great win against Old Emmanuel, we were very gutted for the season to be cut short. I can't wait to see what happens next season and see how well we do and to see it continuously grow. So again, thank you to everyone that has made this happen. And I also just wanted to say a massive thank you to everyone at Chobham for the outstanding support for both the women and the girls sections. I can truly say, and I know that everyone that's been around women and girls rugby previously, that we lead the way and are a great example for other clubs in Surrey. So now for the women and girls clubmen. Without this person, the whole girls section just wouldn't work. He works tirelessly behind the scenes to make sure that the girls have the opportunity to play, and a huge amount more behind the scenes that no one in the club as a whole that not everyone knows about, which is brilliant. So on behalf of myself, I know all of the management committee and the girls, thank you very much, Charles Gregory.
Well, Charles.
Thank you. Thank you.
Speech.
Humble.
Well, it's been great to be involved with the girls section. You know, I've got two daughters that play rugby, and so it's just kind of a natural progression from you know, to make sure that they've got a full program so that they enjoy it, and they do. And you know, it's not just me. There's a whole army of managers and coaches in the girls section, and first aiders and the parents who all chip in together. So you know, it's great what we've achieved together. So thank you.
Right, Chaz.
Well done, Chaz. Thank you, Izzy. Can I, Nigel, I think you have an award to present.
Yes, and this is the first year we're giving this award. This award is the Alan Rhodes Cup, and this award goes to the girl or woman who has been the player of the season, given the most contribution to rugby at Chobham. And this year we have a truly worthy winner. I just want to run down some of the achievements of this first ever winner of the Alan Rhodes Cup. And listening, and I'm just going to pass over to her in a moment or two, we have Alan's widow, Celia, listening tonight. Alan was a long time stalwart of the club, supporter of the club. He ran the line for the first, he played for the Vets, and we sadly lost him too early, and it was very sad that he should pass. But our winner tonight, let's concentrate on that. She played for Chobham Minis from the under-6s to the under-10s. When she was only 12 and playing for the under-15 girls, she was instrumental in setting up girls rugby in Chobham by persuading Richard Julian to coach them on a Thursday evening. She's played Surrey under-15s. She's played Chobham under-18 girls as captain. She started in for Surrey in under-15s and under-18 games for 5 seasons. She was a member of the Chobham Isha team that won the under-18 girls sevens in 2014, a national competition. She captained the Chobham team that won the Ghent International under-18 girls sevens, beating both the Belgian and Dutch national teams, as well as club teams from Europe. She captained Surrey 18 under-18 girls for 2 years. She's had 4 seasons playing rugby at the highest level in the Premiership for Wasps, and is up to 48 caps at the moment, and has only missed 50 caps because of the recent lockdown. She's captained Wasps' second team and played for them for 2 seasons. She was a Wasps award winner before coming back to Chobham in 2016, 2017 and 2018, including Coach's Player of the Year. She's coached our girls for 2 seasons. She's our Women and Girls Chair. She's coached Surrey under-18 girls. She's been 3 years at university studying sports rehabilitation. and she's come back to Chobham to play for Chobham, a truly worthy winner. First ever winner of the Allen Rhodes Cup is Izzy Fisher, who you've just heard from. Any chance, just a quick word from Celia? Can we unmute Celia?
I'm going to say, can you, I can hear you, but I can't see you.
We can hear you.
I can hear you, but I can't see you.
Ah.
Sorry, I can hear you, but you can't see me. Sorry, beg your pardon.
We can hear you now, Celia.
Yeah. Well done. All right, okay, thank you. I'll click my video. There we go. Right, here I am. Right, well done. I didn't realise you'd done all those wonderful things. So congratulations and keep up the good work, and hope you can win it again next year. And hopefully I'll be able to present it to you properly at the Ladies Supporters Lunch. And Danielle, my daughter, who is also a very good Chobham supporter, she wants to come as well. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll see you sometime in the future. Well done.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Well done.
Thank you.
Well done. Thank you.
Thank you, Celia. Well done, Izzy. We hope to see you all in the future.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody. Neil, juniors.
Thank you, Fish.
Spotlight.
I was going to say, so, hey, there you go. So firstly, apologies, I've got a new webcam and it seems to reflect.
Polished your head.
So in terms of juniors this season, or this half season, I think the season was cut short, obviously, for obvious reasons. At that point, we were doing pretty well across all the age groups in the various Surrey competitions. The under 14s are really hoping that the Surrey competitions resume when rugby can resume, because they were heading for Surrey champions, completely unbeaten for the start of the season. But despite everything, we're in pretty good health. We've got nearly 300 boys playing rugby from under 12s to under 18s. We've got a hugely strong connection with our senior section, and we'll come back to that in a minute. And 14 of our current colts played senior rugby up to first team level, actually, this season. We established a couple of years ago a young match officials scheme as well, where we encourage our young boys and girls to pick up the whistle and officiate games for some of the younger colleagues. Again, this season that's been hugely successful, and I'd like to pass massive thanks to Harry Norman Walker, Pete Ashworth, and Sean Wicks, who have given up their Sunday mornings to mentor all of our young referees and give them a guiding hand. We also want to thank Lee and Nell, Dave Evans and Sam Davies, who are our senior players, who've coached the under 16s and under 14s this season. They've been hugely inspirational to the boys, and we hope that we can see more of our senior players working with the juniors over the next few seasons. Tours, we managed to get 1 out of 5 tours out. All the rest of them are working on reclaiming the monies, and they're all looking at rescheduling their tours, hopefully for early in the new season, whenever that may be. Moving on to our awards. So 2 special awards from the juniors this year. The junior section clubman. This year it's gone to someone who always says he knows nothing about rugby, but his age group is very, very well organised, very, very well coached and drilled, and I think embodies the ethos of the game. And he's made a huge contribution to junior rugby, both at Chobham, but also now he's working with Surrey RFU as well, to help as a volunteer on the Surrey Rugby Committee as well. So I'd like to personally thank Jules Gorringe for all of the work that he's done. So Jules is our junior clubman for this year, and Cheers, Jules. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Great to be involved. Thank you.
I have one more award that we've done Zoom sessions for. Usually we would have a big award ceremony on the Friday night before the ball in the tent. All the boys and girls would dress up in their number ones, come along, have a bite to eat, and we'd do formal award ceremonies.
Tent. It's a market tent.
A tent.
A tent.
A big tent, Fish.
A big tent.
Tuck your shirt in. So one of the awards we award overall at that evening is a cup called the Hegarty Cup. And the Hegarty Cup is awarded to the junior player who has had the most outstanding season with achievements for club, county or country, but mostly who encapsulates everything that's good about Chobham and the values of our game. This year it went to a young man in the under-16s. He turned up a few years ago and his head coach described him as Bambi on ice, but he's now the living heartbeat of the under-16s. He's got athletic honours, he's got county honours, he's got Harlequins Academy and a scholarship, all testaments to his ability and commitment. This year's Hegarty Cup went to Tom Golder, who I think is on the call somewhere. I hope he's on the call somewhere.
Hello.
Hey, Tom. Well done, Tom.
Well done, Tom.
I'll find you on the video. Well done.
Well done, Tom.
Jules, and thank you very much.
Cheers.
Thank you.
That's it from me. Cheers.
Thank you very much, Neil. Right. Seniors, who's kicking off there? Neil? Are you out there, Neil? There he is.
Okay, thank you. We get a bit of a two-pronged attack. Harry and I are going to present this. I'll start off with the thank yous, and Harry's going to do a brief summary of the obviously shortened season, and also announce the Senior Clubman Award. Okay, I'm going to start off by thanking Katrina Campbell, who unfortunately has stepped down from her role this season. She had two years supporting me in my senior chairman role. And as of October, when I was called overseas to work overseas by my company, she took up the role of senior chair, and she did a fantastic job, supported by Harry. Obviously, for whatever reason, she's now decided to step down, so it's going to be a massive hole with the senior section with Katrina stepping down. And it's going to be very, very difficult to fill that role. She was very, very good. So obviously, I work in the seniors, and obviously I worked with the juniors over the previous season, so it's a big loss to Chobham, unfortunately. Next, Andy Moody, our Fixers Secretary. Andy has been the Fixers Secretary for seniors the last couple of years. Due to his work, his change in his role, he's unable to continue this year. So I'd like to say a big thank you to Andy for all his tireless work, because it's a very difficult, demanding role, especially with the amount of cancellations you have in the senior section, with teams deciding to cancel on the Friday and then finding games for those to make sure that we continue to play. So it's a very, very difficult role. However, it's a rewarding role. So that will go out the job at Chob. So if anyone that's interested in taking up the Fixer Secretary for the seniors, please contact me. Another change we're going to have, our club captain, Andy Carroll. I'd like to say thanks to Andy for his being club captain for this season. For whatever reason, Andy's decided that 1 year was enough for him. But I'd still like to thank him for stepping up and taking on that role, because it is a difficult role, especially with this season the way it went. Well, I am pleased to say that Zachy Solomon has decided I asked him if he would take up the role. He was sort of vice captain, and he has decided to take up that role. Zachy will bring a lot to the role, and you've already seen him probably on Facebook doing these Chobham TV, so we'll be doing some more of that and doing a lot more social sort of stuff and bringing more people into that if we can. Okay, the next Matt Burton. Matt I asked him to come on board like pre-season last year, because I looked at doing sponsorship for the senior section, in as much as trying to raise, doing a gold, silver and bronze, and trying to get companies involved and sponsor players, no matter if you're in the first team, second team or the third team. And working closely with Mike Vandenberg, because they did a very, very good role. It was very successful, sort of raised a lot of money for the club and sponsorship, and that was, I think, as you say, with what we tried to do is make sure that the actual sponsors got something out of it this season, because previous years that didn't happen. So he worked hard on that. So Matt's going to continue with that, I'm pleased to say. Tony sees through his game day support tireless, even though he may have gone off to watch his son play locally in Reading. He will still come down first and set the first team kit up and the second team with Harry. So tireless, and he's always there to support it. So I'm really, really pleased with that support from Tony. Someone else who came in who decided that he didn't want to play this season, but I thought it was really important that we kept him as part of the team of seniors, is George Vandenberg. George did an incredible job this season, stepping up and doing the filming for first team, and no matter what the weather was, he was there, and then the work of actually putting it on huddle and make sure it's ready for the coaches. So George did a fantastic job. Jake Burton also helped out in game day support. So all these people that made sure that obviously we put games on down the club, and they were very successful and very professional. Thank you also goes out to the medical team, Hugh, Dean, Ben, Izzy, Jane. Thank you very much for all your hard work. Without you, we couldn't put those games on. And I'll say that probably we are the best game day medical team in the whole of Surrey, I would say. So we need to make sure that we keep that bar very high. James Zeal for his touch judges team on the day, and the big thank you goes out to the sponsorship we had this year for the Katie Stockley for Reflex and Relax. She sponsored the coaches kit, and our good friend Brian Robbins and Robin Motors, who sponsored the player stash. So thank you both for that. And last but not least, I'd like to say a big thank you to Jack Edwards and her team behind the bar for obviously their tireless work, putting up with all the hassle and everything else with them, the rowdy sing-songs and everything else. But it was very, very well attended. A lot of socials down there this year, so thank you for that. And now I'll hand you over to Mr. Marmite, Harry, who'll give you a brief summary of this season.
Thanks, Neil. It's good to have you back for next season. I want to talk about the seniors as a section and the 140 players who participated this season and made it a pleasure to be part of Chobham Rugby. Big thank you, first of all, to our new coach, Billy Davison. He seems to be around forever now, as well as a team of assistants, Alex Waddingham, Robbie Kennard, Ben Goldie, and obviously we can't forget Andy Campbell, who led the Cannons on their great start to the league-winning season. Thanks also to Alex Hudson and Brian Robbins for their team management skills. The first 15 had a season of two halves and head into next year on a high. The Cannons proudly won their Surrey Championships, and the Crusaders finished runners-up in Surrey Combination 2. At the Surrey Awards earlier on this month, not only were the Cannons recognised as Surrey Championship, the Crusaders were awarded the Surrey President's Knockout Cup and an RFU Treads Award for their enjoyment of the game. This year's virtual senior awards were a huge success, with nearly 100 attendees, and the marquee awards on the evening were: for Young Player of the Year, the Wheatley Cup went to Sam Davies. The Supporters Player of the Year, the Theo Norman Walker Cup, went to John Rumsey. And the Players Player of the Year, the Colin Greenhall Cup, went to Tommy Reid. Notice it's all backs. Interesting.
All relatives to the Fishers.
I didn't want to mention, I thought that we're going to change it to the Fisher's Son-in-Law Cup, but you know. Right, from Tuesday, 16th of June, the seniors will recommence training. And following government and the RFU official distancing guidelines, we're going to be experimenting for the rest of the club whether it's actually going to work. We're proud that we're in contact with over 180 players for next season, of which 3 of them are returning Chobham boys who haven't played for a while, and we've actually got 11 new players we're talking to for the elite squad. So hope next year we can run 4 teams. We're also very pleased to announce that Ben Goldie has agreed to take on the position of Cannon's coach for next season. Thank you, Ben. Again, I've got to thank Katrina Campbell for this year, for her efforts as manager, mummy, and all-round good egg for all the players, coaches and managers in the seniors. I'm very saddened that she's decided to step down and away from Chobham Rugby. Finally, the Senior Chairman Award for this year goes to someone who has been a backbone of the Surrey Chargers, as well as in previous seasons, he's played and coached the Devils and the Crusaders. He coaches every Saturday morning with the Crusaders and was behind the fundraising dinner that unfortunately was cancelled for the Chargers' trip to the Mixed Ability World Cup. Ironically, this was the week we were meant to actually be in Cork, Ireland for the Mixed Ability World Cup. So I'm proud to announce that this year's winner is Ian White, better known to most as Flapper. You prick. Congratulations, Flapper, and everyone here at Chobham, you and your family all the best during this period.
Yeah.
Well done, Flaps. I'm now going to hand over to Steve Cross to talk about touch rugby, and followed by Micah Reagan, who will talk about mixed ability and community rugby.
Thank you, Harry.
Hi, everybody. Hope you can all hear me. Steve Cross here. Just a quick overview around touch rugby. This is the 9th season that I've been running touch at Chobham. We continue to run touch entirely as a social programme, and it continues for me to be a real pleasure to run this activity, and I really miss it. The last 12 weeks have been very difficult with no rugby. We're one of the few clubs that actually play touch at their club all year round, and we get recognised by the RFU for the number of sessions that we actually organise in Chobham for touch. We do around 60 sessions a season, and that's in excess of 250 individual games. And that's why I need the support of my ambassadors, who I'll mention later. We've had a bit of fun this season. We ran a Six Nations tournament within the group, with players choosing which team they wanted to play for. Interesting, there wasn't a Scottish team in the event. We'll have to try and fix that somehow next season. We've been praised for using the O2 app. This is an app that allows players to pre-register, and it means that any players coming along get frequent flyer points. So you'll see lots of people with stash in and around the club next season. And we were looking to get into some tournaments this summer. So when CV19 hit us, we'd got around 20 players who'd identified themselves really keen to play in 3 or 4 tournaments during the summer. But unfortunately, all of those got kiboshed. We'll be looking to kick that off again when we can in the new environment. So all I'm going to do is thank the ambassadors who come along to help me each and every week. And without their help, we wouldn't be able to run the 250 games that we put in place over a particular season. So thanks very much to Maya, Emily, Cameron, Camel, Chaz, Andy, Harrison, and Joe, and in particular Mrs. Cross, who does the first aiding and notably washes the bibs every week. So for me, I'm looking forward to getting Harry's feedback on how the sessions kick off, and so that we can get ourselves up and running again. So I'll hand you back to Harry. Thanks very much, everybody.
Steve, you're going to have to wait till you can get the Wishmore Cross, remember? Because that's what we're waiting for the touch guys. Unfortunately, that's the hold up there. But anyway, we're very pleased that our Senior Clubman of the Year, Flapper, has joined us, you prick. Well done, Flapper.
Well done, Flap.
Hello, mate. Great work, Flapper. Well done, mate.
Billy, mate, are you?
Huh?
Just wonder whether you want to say any words.
Not really.
No.
That's the first.
He's on live TV, so no swearing.
Yeah, like that's going to stop him.
Well, I'll make an exception for you, Crossy. You can piss off.
Happy days.
Right, we'll now hand over to Mike O'Regan.
Just trying to find you, Mike. Mike, you're on.
Dominic, hello.
Hello.
Thanks, guys. I'm not quite sure how to follow that, but just a few words about the community department and then about the Surrey Chargers. Regarding the community side of things, we actually managed to fit quite a bit in the few months that we managed before lockdown ensued. A big part of our community side of things is our interactions with local schools. And very pleased to say that we were able to organise 3 secondary schools tournaments early in the year, coordinated by Nigel Heslop. So big thanks to him for doing that. It was really good tournaments. Turned out a lot of players, and it was a great introduction to competitive rugby for a lot of these guys, and hopefully will have encouraged them to join the club at some point. We managed 1 junior school tag tournament out of the 2 we were planning before lockdown hit us. Big thanks to Ali Edwards for stepping in and running that, and to all those who volunteered their time across all of these tournaments to make them the great experience that they were. Tournaments like this are probably going to be the focus of how we interact with local schools in the future. We were running a series of after-school clubs until the new year, but unfortunately had to drastically reduce these due to a lack of coaches. But a big thanks due there to Izzy for stepping in and helping us to keep them going as long as we were able to. Next on the list is we were able to run rugby camps in conjunction with Jake Cottrell this season. I think a very enjoyable experience again, and thanks again to Orange for coordinating these. Hopefully we can continue with those next season. Little Cannons, we restarted sessions for preschool kids on a Saturday morning. Really enjoyable sessions focusing on fun and enjoyment, coached by Andy Haig and Henry Hopkins, who really stepped up to the plate and coaching skills along the way. Disrupted a little bit by the World Cup and deteriorating weather as we went through the season, but we were able to continue running these until just before we locked down, and we'll look to continue next season. We'll have a think about how we advertise and market it, and how we manage the membership in terms of attracting new players to that. Next, the Surrey Chargers. I'm sure most of you know that the Chargers are the club's mixed ability team, where guys with a learning difficulty and or a physical disability come and play rugby alongside mainly older guys with more experience. We've grown to the point now where we have around 25 regular members. Normally we have about 18 to 20 at training on a Saturday morning, which is great. We managed 4 matches against other clubs before lockdown happened. We played the Walcott Warriors from Bath twice, Worcester Warriors, Inclusive Rugby Team, and the Ealing Exiles. All very good games. We won 1, lost 3, but at the end of the day, it was just great to get that experience, both home and away. Really pleasing, as I say, to see how that team's developed. We're playing some really, really excellent rugby. I think those who've seen us will vouch for that. And the success that we've had over this season and last resulted in us being invited to the International Mixed Ability World Tournaments, which were going to be happening, as Harry has mentioned, this week. Hopefully it will happen next year now. The upside, I suppose, of that is we've got another year to prepare. Fundraising for that has been going really, really well. For example, we had an excellent brunch in February, which was all by Carol Wicks. Thank you, Carol, again for that. It was a great experience. We managed to raise a lot of money and for what we're doing. We've also obviously mentioned Flapper, who has been brilliant in thinking of ways we can fundraise, outside the box, as well as taking a big hand in coaching the team with the excellent efforts of Rich Lambeth, Tom Knox and Kai Fisher. It's just been brilliant to see how we've developed as a team under their guidance. Harry's also been really supporting us and, of course, refereed us. I think he must be one of the most experienced referees in the country by now.
He's still crap, though.
Well, yeah. He also arranged for us to be on the In at the Side rugby podcast, which was recorded yesterday evening. I do urge you, if you get the chance, to probably come out in a couple of weeks' time, look at it and just see the guys that turned up from the Chargers talking about what rugby means to them and to them being able to play the game. In line with being a part of the senior section, we have organised some player awards. We just haven't told them yet, so that they will be announced, via means of a Zoom call in the next week or so, and then hopefully we can, once we do have a proper senior awards section, we can be part of that then too. That's pretty much it from me.
Thank you very much, Mike. And to all the seniors and to everybody that contributed there, great season really. And Flaps, mate, absolutely fantastic. Thoroughly enjoyed doing the auctions with you as well at the senior lunches. Thank you very much to all of you in the seniors, and well done to all the awards winners. My hand over to Carol now is just going to speak a bit about social and some of our volunteers.
Hi everybody. Yes, I took over from Geraint in September, the role of secretary, and I was asked to try and introduce a few new social events to the club. Very sadly, obviously, not all the social events have taken part due to lockdown, so it was with regret that, having sold out completely for the ball this year yet again, we had to actually give refunds to everybody, so that was very regrettable. We have talked about potentially doing a ball on New Year's Eve, which would be amazing, but again, we can't make any plans because we don't know what's going to be allowed leading up over the following months. Two new events that we did run though were two lunches. As ever, the ladies' lunch was hugely successful, so to a big thanks to Jane Cross for that. They just get bigger and better every year, which is amazing. Always fundraising, so always a lot of money raised for that. It's already been mentioned that we did the bottomless brunch. That was a complete trial. We weren't sure. It made, I was very nervous right up until the day, on the day even, just to see whether or not it would work, and it was a huge success. So that will be something that's in the calendar for future years, and we combine that with fundraising for the Mixed Ability World Cup Tour. So that was a really good success too. And then the Friends of Chobham Rugby also held a lunch, which again was completely full, which is always lovely to see on a Saturday for the seniors. And again, a huge success. So thanks to Mike Riley for that. Since I took over, I try to encourage social secretaries to come forward for the junior, senior, mini, junior and senior sections. Louisa Kawana very kindly stepped up for the minis and has done a lot for the minis on the social side of things, so big thanks to her. we didn't quite get as far as getting a volunteer for the juniors, so that's something that we will want moving forward. And then, of course, as club captain, Andy Carroll took on the role for the seniors and coordinated some successful senior events. Very pleased that Zaki is taking over, so you might get fed up of me in the new season, Zaki, because I will be wanting to brainstorm some social
I don't want the position anymore. I don't want it. I don't want it.
Too late.
Before I go on to my next part, I know, just generally speaking, we wouldn't be without, we wouldn't get where we are, we wouldn't do what we're doing without all the volunteers. From, you know, setting tables, selling tickets for various fundraising events, etc., etc. So a huge thank you to all volunteers. And I'm just going to pass over to Nigel, who wants to say a few words as well on the volunteer side.
Just very briefly to mention our volunteers that have gone forward for the RFU Mitsubishi Rugby Volunteer of the Year. Awards which are now being formalised and decided over the next few months. As with everything, it's all slowed down and held up. Names that you would recognise: Izzy Fisher, Lisa Holden, our safeguarding officer, Tony Sears, Flappers there, Cherry Whittington, our treasurer's there, Katrina Campbell is of course there. She's been a wonderful volunteer. And bizarrely nominated by Middlesex rather than Surrey is our own Joe Fisher. All those names going forward in the Mitsubishi RFU Volunteer of the Year Awards. Thank you.
Excellent, thank you, Nigel. Just moving on, it's my great pleasure to announce a very special award to which is the VP Award, Vice President. This award goes to people who have served the club in lots of different ways, been a great volunteer. Now, she has already been mentioned several times, that's how good she is. And it's my great pleasure to say that Katrina Campbell, we are very, very honoured to be able to present her with this. Now, I remember Katrina, the first time I met Katrina was actually at a school match. Our boys went to the same school, and I kind of thought, who is that woman shouting on the touchline? She was so passionate. It showed from day one, totally passionate about rugby. She went on to manage the junior section, which my son was in, as well as her son, and she did an amazing job, worked tirelessly, and the boys absolutely loved her. It's already been mentioned that she's mum to the seniors. She was mum to all the juniors. A great asset to the club, fabulous throughout the whole of the juniors, and then moving into the seniors. And I'm now going to pass over to Harry to continue all she did for the seniors.
Thank you, Carol. Well, Katrina has been involved with the seniors since her and Andy's son Ollie moved up to join us. Initially, she managed the under-21s, and then within 2 seasons was managing the Cannons, which is our second team. This season, unfortunately, because Neil Gadsby's job took him abroad, he asked Katrina to step up to the mark and look after the seniors. Superwoman Katrina, admin skills, kept all the players, coaches and managers in place. And her passion for the club, its members and players is very apparent in everything she did for the seniors. She's gained respect from us all, and I personally love the fact that she'll always play devil's advocate to any of my questions or thoughts and make me consider my decisions. The boys look at Katrina as a mum for a pastoral support, a manager for her leadership, and as a friend for a beer and a chat. So all the seniors are very pleased, as well as the club, that Katrina, who the word legend was made for, is being made a club vice president. We're going to miss you, and she'll leave a big gap in the Chobham rugby life. Well done, Katrina.
Thank you very much, Carol. And thank you, everybody, and well deserved. The next award comes to me to present. It's the Spirit of Rugby Award, and I do apologise if I've got a piece of paper and we'll be reading this out, because it is a very special award. This award is given in memory of a very special young man, Ben Cross. For those that don't know, Ben suffered from a rare cancer which eventually took his life when he was aged only 12. His bravery, strength, positive attitude and continued love of rugby, his club, his teammates in the face of such adversity inspired this special award, which is presented in his honour. It's not awarded annually, but only when somebody within the club demonstrates those qualities, the spirit of rugby. This year it was unanimously decided that we would present this award posthumously to a man who some of you may not know, and some of you will have had the pleasure of seeing on numerous occasions around the club. And his name is Tom Cooper. We lost Tom this year after a short battle with cancer. Tom was one of those who went about his business in the background, preparing our pitches and acting as a one-man security force guarding the grounds in our absence. Many of you will have seen his posts on Facebook reminding a team that they had forgotten to put the post protectors in the scrum shed. Tom would always be found on a Saturday afternoon watching the rugby from the far side of the pitch and keeping an eye on the minis and juniors on a Sunday. If you spoke to Tom, he was funny, rude, and one of the most passionate supporters of the club. It's always sad when we lose club stalwarts, and Tom is one who we miss very much, especially for me. The meetings in the evening when in the middle of a deep conversation around finance, or even worse, a serious disciplinary, Tom and his dog would walk by the window whilst on patrol, and he would casually flick you the V's, but with his ability, flick you the V's with that big old smile on his face. Tom encapsulated the true spirit of rugby. Hard work, passion, he was in the background, but with the ability to raise the spirits of all that he met. Caroline and Nick, Ben's parents, will present the award to Tom's wife, Barbara, once we all get together in person. I'd just like to raise a glass and say cheers to Tom, and well done for getting the spirit of rugby.
Cheers, Tom.
I'd like to hand over now to Nigel, who's going to talk about the overall clubman this season.
Hello, everybody. The overall Clubman of the Year award, called the Founders Pot, donated a few years ago by our founder, Scotty, Brian Scott. This year goes to a outstanding volunteer, somebody who, for the last few years, has done an unseen and essential job in the club, as well as being part of the playing strength of the club. She has taken on that endless task of setting up the new EPOS till system for the club. She's liaised with customer support. She's continued week in, week out to support the bar, the kitchen, the shop in a real drudge job that just takes diligence and commitment. She's been instrumental over the last few years, as well as that, in setting up and promoting our new women's rugby team. And she is active in the organisation, the administration, and the marketing of this new section. In addition to that, she's also helped Brenda, our shop manager, with the shop transition. Our overall clubman of the year this year is Catherine Vandenberg.
It was an awful job you had to do this year, but those EPOS systems and the help that they've been for the club, especially in the last couple of months, has helped us massively. And I'm sure Cherry and everybody will agree with the amount of work that has saved us in trying to plan the future as well. So thank you very much, Catherine, on behalf of all of us.
Brilliant. Well done.
Thank you very much. I'm not brilliant with words, so I'm just going to leave it with thank you. But thank you, it means a lot.
Well done. Well done.
Well, it really, I think we've come to the end of the evening, and I just want to say a massive thank you to everybody who joined the call. Thank you very much to everybody who's contributed to the call. A massive thank you to all of our volunteers, whether they're on the call or not. Without them, this place wouldn't run. A massive thank you to all our clubmen and women who have basically truly deserved their awards and are the pinnacle of it, everything that we do. I also don't want to forget our sponsors as well. A few of them have been mentioned, and a massive thank you to all the people that help support us financially, not just through obviously their memberships, etc., but the sponsors that put their hand in their pocket for us as well. A huge thank you to all of our committee members. To those that are standing down, Lauren Campbell, thank you very much for everything that you've done with the comms over the last couple of seasons. A huge thank you to the management committee and the various subcommittees that have especially helped us through the last season and certainly the last few months. And a huge thanks to Mike Vandenberg, who always gets a good thanks because he bloody well deserves it. Absolutely fantastic job. Again, fantastic support. And thank you for this evening as well, Mike, with your editing and directing. And a huge thank you to everybody. This really is a special club, a wonderful place to be, and a wonderful, wonderful bunch of people to spend time with. And I'm sure you all agree that this is a special place, and long may Chobham survive. And my goodness, we got through this and we're going on and on and on. And thank you very much, everybody. Cheers.
Cheers.
Well done to Fish, his first year as chairman.
New broom.
Well done.
Well done, boss on.
Pure evenings. Have a good one. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Well done, you.
Well done, chaps.
Well done, all.
I don't know. Your fire's gone out, by the way.
Timing is everything.
Thank you so much, guys. Cheers, all.
Cheers. Thank you.